Jay back on the one. Brandy J. We out with this on Intellectual Radio. Let's go. Another Wednesday back live with you guys. I miss you guys so much. And you know today's show is always brought to you by True Essence. We are a unique spiritual spa located online. We specialize in all the spiritual tools you will need to ascend. If you haven't already, follow me on IG. That's Brandy3YJ_. Check the link in the bio. Look at the website, vibe with it. Purchase some things that you may need for your household to get the vibrations high. Yes, guys, I love that you guys are connected and back vibing with me. And of course, if you guys want to tune in live and chat with me, you can always text me at 708-223-8953. And as always, we love you here on Intellectual Radio. So last week, or the week before last, rather, we spoke about entrepreneurship. We had a special guest, Mr. Super Stokes, on, and he dropped some great gems about entrepreneurship and ownership and all the things that we need to ascend. So, piggybacking off of that, I wanted to conclude with our entrepreneurship series. So we're going to be diving right back in, talking about marketing, talking about brand positioning, all the things that we need to do to make sure that we are positioned properly in our community as far as entrepreneurship, right? Because as we all know, we are all shifting into a whole new different paradigm, right? Well, where having just one source of income is not sufficient. Now, working a 9 to 5 is nothing wrong with that, but you have to be developing different avenues to grow and expand. And what better way than entrepreneurship, because it's so vast. And some of us think as entrepreneurship as being like, oh, I have to have this big product, or I have to have this big business, this brick and mortar. The good thing about this digital world that we're living in, you don't even have to have a physical building anymore, right? Due to social media and all these great tools that we have now accessible to us, entrepreneurship has definitely leaped and took a great leap in the right direction. So we're going to give you all the gems that you need today to take the step that you need to in your entrepreneurship. But before we dive in, we had some weekends, Chicago. I said Chicago. We had some weekends, right? So we had a nice weekend this weekend. It was very nice. I think it was like 80. And I just got to say, our people, we got to do better. Before we jump into anything, I got to address the elephant in the room. I went on my social media and I just saw chaos from the kids, chaos from adults. I think some incident happened on Harlem where some lady had ran into the gas station, flipped the car over. Then you go downtown, you had kids rioting. We have to do better, guys. We haven't even tapped into summer yet. So if this is the brink of what we're to expect, it's not okay. I speak loudly for the parents. I don't believe that I have to speak directly to my audience, because I know my audience are on higher vibrations, but maybe your cousins, you may have to relay this message to. Being a parent is so essential at this time. And being a parent doesn't mean just doing the bare minimums. It's not just about checking the homework every now and then and just seeing where they go. You have to follow up. You know, these special phones that we have now, I don't know if you know, but they have tracking devices. Yes, they have tracking devices. I suggest, I don't care how good or bad your child is, you should always be tracking them, because you never know what's going to happen. You want to know where they are. You want to know what's going on, who they're around. Are they where they said they were going to be at? Because you don't want to position yourself where something happened, you don't know what's going on, or your kids is the one that's out there or anything. So no judgment. It's just a warning for us to get it together. Because here on this podcast, we talk about higher vibrations. We talk about spirituality, spiritual development, metaphysics, entrepreneurship, powerful economics, things of that nature. And family and home plays a huge component into all the things that we speak about. Because you can be getting to the bag, you can learn how to get your chakras aligned and all of that. But if you are not tending to your home, if there's no divine order and open communication in your home, then all of that is non and void. So let's all do each other a favor and hold one another accountable in this journey. We want to make sure all of our kids see it to high school, to college, to their adulthoods. We don't want to see them in jail. We don't want to see them dead. We don't want to see any of that. So let's just make sure that while we're having ladies' nights and brunch and cigars with the guys, that we're making sure that we're having these open dialogues with one another, just to make sure we're on top of one another. There's nothing wrong with accountability, right? It's essential for us because we see what's going on. And yes, there's propaganda in it. Yeah, you know, what they promote on the news is mainly us. And it's unfortunately because it actually is us. And we don't need to perpetuate this type of dialogue. We need to change the narrative. But guess who can change it? We can. We have to change it. And it first starts in the home. It first starts with how we govern ourselves within our homes, with our children, with our finances, with our resources, right? So just had to get that out the way because I don't want to have another weekend like that again. Absolutely not. We deserve more. The Most High expects more of us, and we are deserving of more, right? So let's make sure we again hold one another accountable and enjoy this summer and allow things to bloom. This is our time to blossom, not the time to go in and do wrong. This is our time to come out. The sun is out. Let's make sure we can all enjoy the sun in a collective unified way. So let's jump right into entrepreneurship, guys. I know y'all ready for it. So jumping right in, entrepreneurship is great for the economy. It creates new products and services that stimulates our employment, and it ultimately creates greatness within the economic development of our communities, right? So here are some of the reasons why you want to go into entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurship accelerates the economy. It promotes innovation. It can promote social changes. It also promotes research and other things that we actually do need within our community. Entrepreneurship is essential in this new climate that we're going into, right? We always speak about the paradigms and the different ideas that we're shifting into. But again, we're not just relying on one set currency. We have to make sure we have several ways of getting to the bag, and entrepreneurship is a definite way. So entrepreneurship can allow you some of the benefits is you have a flexible schedule, right? When you are working for yourself, you have a flexible schedule. Now, that doesn't mean you get to create your own schedule because something that Super Stokes dropped on the podcast last week is even though you work for yourself, you essentially work for the people who are purchasing the product from you and or service. So you do have to be mindful of that. So yeah, you do have a flexible schedule, but there's boundaries within that, right? So another benefit is that you get a chance to build a career that aligns with your beliefs, with your core beliefs and your values, something that you are in tune with. Most entrepreneurs, they follow things that they've been doing for a long time. You got people who are in the arts, you have people that's into music, you have people that make specialty products and things of that nature, and they've been doing it for a while, so it gives you a chance to expand on that. It also is great for economic development. Yes, economic development for your community. And we all know that economics is huge in our community. Dr. Claude Anderson, I'm not sure if you guys heard of him before, but if you haven't, please YouTube him. He speaks greatly about the economics within the Black community and how we need to make sure that we are positioned properly economically so that we can be where we need to be. Because you could have all the politics in the office, you can have all of this going on, but if we don't have the dollar allocated correctly so that the politicians can do what they need to do within the communities, then it's kind of non and void. So economic development is a huge component into entrepreneurship. It also too improves the standard of living. When you are in business for yourself or doing your divine calling, again following your north node, there's this bliss about yourself that you just can't explain because you are following your divine right. So it's essential to know that these things are great benefits as far as becoming an entrepreneur. Now, before we dive hard into these things, you want to know, man, Brady, how do I know what my skill set is? I'm not meant to be an entrepreneur. I'm just meant to work a 9 to 5. Hey, listen, it's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5. I too work a 9 to 5 while I am also developing my business and other things that I'm working on. So some of the questions that I'm gonna ask, I will ask that you write these questions down and answer them on your own time. This will help you get a better idea of what your natural gifts are and how you can use those gifts to develop your entrepreneurship skills, right? So, the first question is, what are your natural gifts? What are you good at? What do you do? For me, I speak well. I like to speak. I like to talk. I like to do certain things. I like to do things with my hands. So I'm always creating. I make specialty products like candles and body scrubs and shea butters and cakes and things of that nature. So find out what do you do effortlessly. And then from that question, ask yourself, is there a need for it? Is there a need for that special gift? So find out what that gift is and find out, is there a need in the market in your industry for that gift? The next question is, what makes your product and your service different? What makes it unique? What makes it stands out? The beauty about entrepreneurship is, yes, it has advanced because the digital world that we live in, but now it's accessible for everybody. Everybody's an entrepreneur, right? So you have so many people making body scrubs. You have so many people singing. You have so many people doing art. Make your, I can't answer that. You have to answer that. So ask those questions to yourself. The next question is, how will you position your product? How will you position your product? What I mean by that is that, will you have a high quality product or a standardized product? Meaning, like, is it a Gucci or like a, um, Michael Kors, things of that nature. When you think about those brands, they're high quality and they position their product and their services in a particular way. When you think about Dove or you think about Downy or things of that nature, that's more of a standardized product where it's accessible for everyone. So you too want to think about, how do you want to position your product? Do you just want a certain type of clientele, or do you want it to be accessible for everybody? These questions are all essential, right? The next question is, how is your support system? This is huge, guys. And support system is not just for the economic part of it, because yes, you may need money, but you also just need moral support. When you're starting a business, it's a lot. Whether you have a brick and mortar, or whether you're doing a website, or whether you're just going door to door, or whatever have you, you actually do need moral support. And it's more than likely going to come from people within your home. So you want to make sure that you let the people know that you love and who you are tethered to. Hey, this is what I'm going to be doing. This is how it may impact. I might not be able to pick the kids up on this day, or I may not be able to do X, Y, and Z, and see how you guys can come up with a system before you even dive in. All of these things are essential, right? So, understanding these questions, answering these questions will help you get a better idea as far as what your special gift is, how you want to position your gift, and how you will have support throughout the duration of this particular skill set, right? So another thing is that you want to know is that anytime you're doing something new, you're going to meet a level of resistance. Let's say it again. Anytime you're doing something new, you're going to meet a level of resistance. Understand that resistance is just there to push you forward. Now, for some, the resistance allows them to just stay stagnant, or what we would call procrastination. Procrastination, if you're not careful, is like the thief in the night. It will steal you from your joy, your dreams, and everything you have, because life happens, right? And we all want to just, like, oh my God, just go in a hole and just cry our tears out or whatever have you. But you can't stay stuck there. You have to pick up your mat and walk. I'm going to say that again. You have to pick up your mat and walk. So, procrastination, again, is you have to learn how to get that out. So, before we dive into the great things that we need to know about entrepreneurship, let's touch on procrastination. I'm going to give you some great tips that you can use as far as avoiding procrastination and making sure that you are positioning yourself in your business correctly. So the first thing is, break your work into little steps. We spoke about this before in the show, is having smaller increments, not trying to hurry up and get to the end goal. Getting to your journey is not just about the end goal. It is truly the journey. You want to explore it. You want to expand from it. You want to learn from it. Also, you want others to learn from it too. So breaking your work into small steps will allow you to reach your goal. And then also celebrating those small wins into that greater win, right? Sometimes, you have to take a day off. Sometimes it's okay. But when you find yourself taking too many days off, giving too many excuses, and you're too gung ho on getting to the end goal, then that means that you are more than likely going to start to procrastinate, right? So next is to changing your environment. Yes, changing your environment is so essential. For me, when I'm writing my notes for the show or whatever have you, if I'm making my products for my website, I like to go in my office space. I like to go somewhere where I can be secluded, changing my environment. I have smaller children at home, right? So likely being around them where I'm trying to focus in on my intent in that moment may not be the best thing. So know your environment and then know how you need to kind of change your environment. Maybe you do need to go to the library. Maybe you do need to have an office space. whatever have you, changing your environment can definitely help when it comes to procrastination. Moving along is creating a detailed timeline with specific deadlines. We spoke about this before, but let's touch on it again. You have to have a timeline. Anyone, a dream without a blueprint, it means nothing. You can have anything in life without a blueprint. You have to have a blueprint in essence of what you want to do and where you want to go, right? So having a timeline and then a deadline and then accountability within that. So say for instance, if you don't reach that deadline, what is the accountability component, right? So moving along is to reducing the number of decisions you need to make. Reducing the number of decisions you need to make. Every decision we make has an energy consequence to it. All right. So you need to be mindful of the decisions that you make and reduce the number of decisions. So don't have too much bunched into the day. Kind of be mindful of, okay, I got X, Y, and Z to do. I'm going to do X on this day. I'm going to do Y on this day. And I'm going to do Z next week. Okay. As opposed to doing X, Y, and Z all on the same day. Reducing that number, right? Next is also finishing your day before it starts. I love this, guys. Finishing your day before it starts. That means getting up and making it happen. You already know what needs to happen. Don't wait till 5 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. No, do it now o'clock, right? When you get up and you set your intentions, you did your meditation, you took care of your household, get to it. Whatever that goal is for that day, get right on to it because that's going to help you with any delay processing, right? Next is re-clarify your goals, right? So going back to that timeline, once you have that timeline, re-clarify because it may be times where you can't meet certain deadlines. You can't meet certain quotas. So this is why you need to re-clarify your goals and reorganize them, right? Next is stop overcomplicating things. This thing is not complicated, guys. It really isn't. Are you waiting for the perfect timing? Are you waiting for the perfect thing? No. If that's what you're waiting on, you're going to be a sitting duck, right? Don't overwhelm yourself. Just do it one step at a time. Don't wait on the perfect timing. Don't wait on this person's approval. Don't wait on this loan to approve. You may not be able to position your business the way you want to. Even like with me, please, I already know the type of brand that I have. I speak about it all the time. I can see the future. And likely I want to hurry up and get there, right? But you have to also be mindful that there's seasons, right? And in each season there's a time frame. So you have to just be go with the flow of things and be mindful of that. Don't overcomplicate it by, oh, I'm going to worry about this and I got to hurry up and get there and look at so and so and look at that person. No person has ever ran any race and won by looking to the left or right. I never seen it. They have looked straight ahead. So you might want to do that, right? Next is always reward yourself, right? Reward yourself with the things that you are doing. Give yourself praise along the way, right? While you're having deadlines and things of that nature, you also want to make sure that you are rewarding yourself within that deadline. So, yes, there's an accountability component if you don't reach a goal, but there's also a reward system if you do. So whatever that reward system is, maybe I'm going to treat myself to dinner, maybe I'm going to take myself on a trip, whatever have you, reward yourself, right? And next is tell others about your goals. This is why I opened up with saying, hey, who is your community? Speak to your family and friends who's going to be your support system in that and tell them about your goals because they're going to hold you accountable in that, right? They definitely will. Hopefully they will. If they don't, you just need to change your circle, right? Yeah. So lastly is seek out someone who's already achieved your goals. Yes, seek out someone who's already in your desired goal because that is going to help you. Not only can they minister to you, not only can they assist you, but they're going to encourage you so much immensely, right? So you want to make sure that you're aligning yourself with that. So now that we have a better idea of how procrastination plays a role in achieving your goals, we want to know how to be the best successful entrepreneur you can be, right? And before we get into that, we have to know the proper structures of a business, right? So you want to make sure that you are positioning your business properly because there's different structures, right? So what is a legal business structure, right? So a legal business structure is a legal organization that is recognized in a given jurisdiction for a business or category. The type of legal structure you choose determines the extent to which you can participate in certain activities. such as raising capital or taxes and things of that nature. It influences the day to day operations of your business, right? It also defines who owns the property, how the profits are distributed, and the responsibility for performing each task. So knowing these different type of business models will help you know where you want to be and how you want to structure your business, right? So let's get into it. We all know about sole proprietor, right? So sole proprietor is an independent person who basically is operating under the same as their business, right? Them, the business and themselves are one entity. 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, that social security is attached to that business, which is the TIN number, right? You can get another number, but essentially it's not its own entity, right? Some of the benefits of being a sole proprietor is that you get to file a Schedule C, and some of you guys are familiar with that because I know y'all tapped into the PPP loans and all those great things. So, yes, you can file a Schedule C, right? Another benefit is that it's flexible for those who are fully employed. So, if you are working on your business while working at a institution, this is a great idea for you. And it's low in cost too to start up. I believe it's a little bit of nothing to start, right? So some of the disadvantages to sole proprietorship is that it does not offer any type of corporate protection. So you and your business are one entity. That means your personal assets are not protected, meaning if something was to happen with a product or a service inside that business as it pertains to a customer, guess who's liable? Not just the business, but you as well, because again, you guys are one entity. So if you have your ins and outs with it, in today's world, not a lot of people are going for the sole proprietorship, but it is a great way to begin for young teens and young adults who are just beginning into it. It may be a great way to start, right? So we don't want to discount it. Next is your LLC, which is your limited liability company. It's designed to protect owners of a business from certain related liabilities, right? It's become the most popular business model. Yes, some of the advantages are is that it is inexpensive to start, and it has less paperwork than the C corps and the S corps. Also, for the purposes of taxes, it's not considered a separate entity, but it does offer the legal protection as it is. So it's not a separate entity, but it does still offer some of the same protection for that you would need legally if something was to happen within that business, right? So some of the disadvantages of having an LLC is that if you take some actions, including but not limited to personal guaranteeing of a debt or mingling your personal funds and things of that nature, you can be exposed, right? Another thing is that you have an obligation to operate your business as a separate entity to ensure and retain value, right? So those are some of the disadvantages of having an LLC, which is a little bit to none, right? So that's why a lot of people are choosing LLCs right now, right? Next, we have the S Corp. The S Corp is also referred to as a corporation. It's just a S Corp in front of it, right? So it has a great amount of benefits. With this structure, you have a limited legal liability, meaning that the separation of the business and your personal assets are totally different. So you are literally different from your business. There are two different entities. You get your own EIN number, all of that. And yes, it is more paperwork. It is more paperwork. But some of the advantages is that profits and losses can pass through the shareholders' personal tax return, right? So again, shareholders may not be able to be paid in a fair market value by the IRS, but you can basically get different shareholders. You can there's just so many different benefits to S corp, right? Some of the disadvantages is that the IRS is very tuned to the S corp, so who pays themselves a lower wage and to avoid self-employment tax. There's also a audit risk. Yes, let's rewind. A audit risk for these personal services and corporations. So, and some of those audits, if you're not operating your business properly, it can have some penalties and some costly penalties. So, you want to make sure that if you are choosing to go with a corporation, an S corp or a C corp, that you are getting it. I would suggest going to somebody like a Rocket Lawyer, and there's so many other companies. I just mentioned that off the dome that you can go to have position your business, and then they will actually manage all the paperwork for you throughout the course of your business. So for people like me who are just creative and they're creative entrepreneurs and they really don't want to kind of deal with the paperwork and the IRS and all these different legal formalities, having a company like Rocket Lawyer will definitely assist you with making sure that you can position your business properly, right? Lastly, is you have the C Corp. The C Corp is an attractive option. Yes, it is for the savvy, independent, professional corporation. It is for the Fortune 500 businesses, right? So when you think about a C Corp, think about Bentley, think about Walmart, think about KFC, think about all these big companies, right? They are C corporations. Some of the advantages of a C Corp is you are, as an individual taxpayer by the IRS. You provide limited liability, meaning you separate your personal and your professional assets in the company, right? So if anything was to ever happen, meaning you're being sued or anything, they are separate entities, right? And the fringe benefit deductions are available, including health reimbursements, adjustments, and things of that nature. And also minimum taxes. Yes, minimum taxes for the S Corp. For the C Corp. Now, some of the disadvantages for the C Corp is with separate entity statuses, such as a C Corp, you could be double taxed. Yes, you could be double taxed from the IRS for profits and distributed dividends. So just be mindful of that. A next disadvantages, owners of the corporations are not eligible for some deductions and some benefits. So you want to make sure you have all your ducks in a row. So maybe starting off as a LLC or a sole proprietor may be the great start, and then building up into that corporation. But hey, if you want to get it popping right out the gate, hey, go for it. If you see where your business is at and you see this global industry, hey, start off strong. Start off as a C Corp, right? So now that we have a better idea of the different business models and how we structure it, let's get into the business plan, right? Because in order to have a business, whether you are seeking loans or whether you are looking for grants or financing or help from family and friends, whether you are just financing it yourself and out of pocket, you still want to have a business plan, right? We just spoke about that. Having a blueprint is essential for any aspect of anything you do in life, but especially business. Yes. So the elements of a business plan is first is an executive summary. Yes. So an executive summary is a one-page dialogue of your business. It consists of your mission, your vision, and your purpose. Ooh, let's say that again. Your executive summary consists of your mission, your vision, and your purpose. So you have to figure out what your mission is for your business, what your vision is for your business, and what your purpose is. Is your purpose to align people to their higher self? Is your purpose to give them a quality product that's not on the market? What is your purpose of your service and or product, right? Next is your target market. Who are your products or services intended for? Yes. Get a survey, gather some demographics, some interests of the people, get some budgets together, maybe do like a survey of some of your family and friends, and from there you can know who your target market is. This is essential, and again, all of this you're going to write down. Moving along is third is competitors. Yes, what's a world without competitors? Again, we're living in this digitized world, so competitors are vast. So you want to divine your competitors. You want to know what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, and determine your competitive advantages over that, right? What makes your product different? What makes you different? What makes your service different? What makes their products different? What makes their service unique? And know how to not so much piggyback off of them, but you want to examine it so that you can know what your competitors do are doing so that you can position your business properly. Yes. Next is human resource. You have to have a human resource. And I think that we underestimate this, especially in small businesses, because we think, oh, we don't have a big business and I don't have employees, or if I do have employees, I only have a few. So I really don't need human resources. You absolutely do. You absolutely do. So human resources will, you would need additional staff to run your business. So the questions you will want to ask is, do I need additional staff? What would I pay them? How much experience would I require for them? What skills would I need for them to have, right? You may just need a marketing person, right? You may need someone that's good with marketing. So, what do I need from them? Because I'm not good at marketing, I'm going to need someone to be positioned in marketing. Do I want them to have a college degree? Do I want them to have work experience? Did I want them to already have positioned themselves where they have benefited other businesses and I've seen their work? So, you have to ask yourself these questions. And if you have a physical brick and mortar, meaning that you have an actual physical location, you definitely need more questions into this human resource component. How would I position my business with my employees? How would I communicate with them if there's an issue with employees and employees, meaning there's friction? How would I resolve that? All of these things are essential, right? Next is vendors and suppliers. For those who are wholesaling and retailing, things of that nature, you will need to have a list of quality, hopefully, vendors and suppliers. Will you require outside sources or projects to operate, right? Also asking the question, what about supplies that you would need? If I'm making scrubs or sage and things of that nature, where would I buy my product from? How would I make my product different? How would I keep a relationship with this vendor, with the supplier? Meaning that if my website sold out today or tomorrow, all of a sudden, how would I be able to restock or replenish? Because supply and demand is real, right? So all of that is important. Next is marketing. Whoa, marketing is so essential, right? How will you get your products and services in front of your ideal audience, in front of the clients that you desire? How will you position your products and services? How will you communicate your message? And all of that is going back into the other questions that we spoke about. So, marketing is essential. Yes, you can hire someone, but before you hire someone to do the marketing for you, they want to know you have a strong foundation of where your business is or your product is and how you plan to position it and how you want to communicate your brand to your audience, right? Next is operations. How are you operating your business? How are you going to run your business? Determine the most efficient way that you can get the job done and guideline it. Put some deadbolts in it. Like, I'm going to do this on this day. I'm going to open up from 9 to 5. I'm going to close on this day. On this day, I'm going to make product. On this day, I'm going to promote. On this day, I'm going to do this. So having operations is essential because it'll make your workflow work so much more quicker, especially for entrepreneurs who are double dutching, right? Like myself, who's at work, who's doing different things. You want to make sure that your operations flow, right? Next is financial projections. Yes, that's important because you're doing all of this for an end goal, right? Ultimately, you want to get some money from it. You may want to save the world. You may want to give the world this product that is quality that they don't have. But ultimately, baby, you want the coins. So, yes, financial projections. How much money do you need to start and run your business? So, how much do you need to start it, and what do you need to run it throughout the course of that business? And then also determine the profitability of your company. And this first year, I expect to make a profit of X. And the next year, I determined to make a profit of Z. And in this year, in the 5 years, I determined to be global. So I'm going to be on the 500 list. So I expect to have millions, whatever have you, right? So having those financial projections is essential, guys. Yes. So those are some of the guidelines that you will actually format for yourself. You can put it in your computer, you can write it on notes, but it's essential when you are formatting a business plan. So moving right along, next we want to make sure we have a great marketing plan, right? So yeah, like I spoke about, you can always hire someone to help you with marketing, but if you are not able to do that, and even if you are, I think it's still great to answer some of these questions and to really dive into this because, again, even by bringing someone along, they want to know that you have a strong foundation. And I don't care how big or small your business is, it is just so great when you come into your business or when you bring someone into your business that you know what you're talking about, that you're clear about your business and how you want to position that business, right? So the first step in your marketing strategy is yes, knowing your audience. We speak about this a lot and it's going to sound redundant, but it's so important knowing who your audience is. And that goes back to doing like that taste test or that getting your peers together and doing a survey because you're going to know based off of demographics of those surveys who your audience is. Next is emphasize your value and your proposition. Yes, you want to play it up. Don't downplay. This is not the time to be like, no, I just got this little thing. Oh, I'm just selling a little lemonade. No, this is the best lemonade you ever had. Baby, have you ever tasted my lemonade? Yes, this lemonade is smacking, right? So you want to emphasize your value of your product and or service. Next is to stay focused on a singular goal and or objective. Yes, stay focused, one thing at a time. Going back to that, let's not put too much into one day or to one ideal, right? You want to stay focused on one singular goal and objective at a time. Next is capitalize on short-term plays. Capitalize on it, on your short-term goals. What can I do to make sure that this goal that I'm reaching, even though it's not my end goal, how can I make money off of it? Meaning, I might be just going to a networking event and I got a booth set up. And ultimately, I see myself having an actual physical location. But in the meantime, in this physical short time that I have, I'm going to set me up a booth. And this short term goal is for me to make $100 that day, 200 or 500, 1,000, whatever have you. So capitalize on your short term goals. You want to make sure that you are gradually getting that money up, right? Next is double down on what works. Yes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yes, in fact, if it's working, keep going. That means doubling down on what works for you. Next is understanding the power of existing customers. You know, a lot of these big corporations, they always got these sales like T-Mobile. If you're a new customer, we're going to give you X, Y, and Z off. Comcast was good for doing this. If you're a new customer, we'll give you a free box, a free this and free that. No, that's all great and dandy. But what about your existing customers? What about the people that's been rocking with you for the beginning, from the beginning? Like my audience, I have you guys here rocking with me from the beginning. So no matter what, Brandy J, no matter where I go in the future, I'm going to remember you. I appreciate you and I value you. And in that value system of that, I'm going to make sure that I give you homage in that. And I want to make sure that I empower you, and empowering you also empowers me, right? Next is use free promotional tools. There's so many promotional tools available, and we're going to speak about that in a few. You have this digital world that we're living in. Social media is crazy right now, so you can practically promote for free. I mean, if you want to go the extra step, you can pay for ads and things of that nature, but promotion is free at this point. So definitely capitalize on that. Next is create a website to create an online presence. I think it's essential for everyone to have a IG, to have a website. I don't care what you're doing, whether it is a service or a product or whatever have you. Have that online presence is important. When people send you a business card, what's the first thing you're gonna do? Go on their IG, click and see what their website is talking about. Even if you're not gonna purchase nothing, you want to see, right? And that creates more of it creates more credibility with that brand, right? So next is considering blogging or attracting your customers, or doing a podcast like I'm doing, right? So whatever your product or your service is about, maybe blogging and talking about the benefits of that product, talking about the things that centered around that service. That's so dope, right? That engages people and it gives them incentive to want to engage in your service or product. Yes, so all of these are important. So when you're talking about marketing, all of those things are important. Answering those questions and getting in tune with that is really going to level you up in a whole nother different ways. Now, when you're talking about marketing, there's 4 P's of marketing. For those who are familiar with business class, Business 101, I went to college and I took Business 101 a few times. I love it. I love business. I love learning about how you can position your business properly, right? So the 4 P's of business is product, price, promotion, and place. Yes, let's say that again. Product, price, promotion, and place, right? So the product is the good or service being marketed to the targeted audience, right? It's generally successful products fills a need of currently of what that marketplace needs. So you're providing something for your targeted audience that is not already on the market, or if it is on the market, you're making yours a little bit different. Yours is unique and you're exploring that, right? So some of the questions that you might want to ask when you're positioning that product is, what is your product? Do you have several products? Do you have one product? If you have a whole lot of products, do you need to condense down? You guys ever been to a restaurant and I mean the menu is like galore and it's like pages long? You're like, I can't filter through all of this. Like give me bullet points, right? So it's the same thing. If you have too much product, too much services, it can be overwhelming, not only for you, but also for the client. So knowing what your product is great. And then knowing that, hey, I might just want to start off with 3 products and seeing how that works. And then after that takes off, then I'm going to amp it up, right? Next is, what does your product do? Does this product meet an unfilled need in the marketplace, right? Who is your product targeted for? And next is, how does your product differ from others? Next is your price, right? So price is the cost of a product and or services, right? When marketing a product or service, it's important to pick a price that is simultaneously accessible to the market in which you're going for. Right. So again, if you're going for a Gucci or Michael Kors type of a high-end product service for your business, then you know you need to position it this way and price it this way. If you're going for like your Downy or things of that nature, then you know you need to position it another way. So some of the questions you may want to ask yourself is, what is the price range of my product? And what is the price range of my competitor's product? So my competitors, what are they pricing their products at, right? And how can I position myself? Because you don't want to be too high and you don't want to be too low. You want to be right there, right? Also is, what is the price range of your target audience? Meaning, what are their demographics? What do they make? So whoever your target audience is, what's their medium household income? Do they have extra change to spare? And you want to make sure that you're getting to the nooks and crannies of that, because ultimately you want a returning customer. You don't want someone that's going to buy your product just 1 or 2 times, right? You want somebody who's going to fall in love with your product and be able to afford it throughout the duration of your business. So you want to make sure that you know the demographics of the audience of which you're going for. Next is your product too high for your audience, or is it too low? And then position it properly, right? The next thing is place, guys, right? We get into our third P, the place. Place is where you sell your product and your distribution channels to use for your customers. So again, you can place it in a brick and mortar. You can actually place it online. You can place it on Google, Etsy. There's so many different platforms, right, to place your product and position it. So you want to make sure that you are positioning your product in a proper place. So some of the questions you may want to ask yourself is, where will I sell my product? Right? Where will I sell it? Where does my target audience shop? Do they shop online? Do they shop at Target? Do they shop? Do they like going to networking events? You got some people that strictly only shop at networking events. They love going to different events and networking with people and going to different booths and things of that nature. If that's your target audience, then boom, you have your question. You don't need a brick and mortar. You may not even, well, no, you do need a website. I was about to say you may not need it, but you will. But answering these questions will allow you to position your product in a proper place, because placement of your product is so important. Because you can have a brick and mortar like I did for 11 years and it not work. It's not even, you're living in the dinosaur ages, because everything is so digital, right? And people are buying products and stuff online. So here you are with this big facility that you don't really need, because most of your target audience are purchasing online. So answering these questions are essential, right? And lastly, promotion, right? The last P is promotion. Promotion is how you advertise your product or service. So through promotion, you will get the word out about your product with the effective marketing campaign that resonates with your target audience, right? So some of the questions to consider when you're talking about your product promotion is, what is the best time to reach my target audience? Are they up early? Are they up late at night? Are they riding the trains? Are they commuting from work? All of these, like getting to the nooks and crannies of these questions will allow you to know, okay, when I'm going to market my business, when I'm going to promote on ads, how do I want these ads to run? How often do I want it to run? And some of these things, guys, I'm still working on myself. So don't think that I'm just giving this to you and I'm not applying it myself. These are things that I am still working on and through. But it's essential for us if we want to take this thing to the next level, right? Next is, what marketing channels are most effective? So once you're strategizing and seeing, okay, man, I'm marketing on IG, I'm marketing on Facebook, I'm marketing on Shopify, I'm marketing here on Google, I got this, I got that. You want to make sure you know what your customers are coming from. So when your customers come on your website or when they come into your facility, how did you hear about us? A lot of you guys shop with a lot of different places. And that, what's the first question they ask? How did you hear about us? What does that tell that business? It tells them where what best serves them as far as marketing purposes. Where are you getting your information about us from so we can better position it? If I find out that most of my customers are coming from IG, what do you think I'm going to promote mostly on IG? If I find that most of my customers are on Facebook, where do you think I'm going to promote on Facebook? If I find that most people are Googling the type of product that I have, then what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to go on Google and make sure I'm the first thing popping when you Google spiritual products. So making sure that you know the channels of your target audience. Next is, what advertising approaches are you going to use to persuade your target audience? So what are you going to do to persuade your target audience to be able to promote and purchase your product, right? So all of this is just going to catapult you into a whole another different dimension, guys. You're going to be like, what? Yes. Some for it could take some 4 to 5 years. This thing, get into the nuts and crannies of this thing, will actually take you less time, maybe half, if not one fourth. So another few things that you want to consider when you're talking about marketing is, yes, one, your website, Google, blogging, digital audio, like what I'm doing here now, customer reviews. That is so great, man. You would even know word of mouth is so great. So having people give out customer reviews is great. Customer giveaways, those are great incentives to have people purchase your product and get new customers in. So give out some giveaways. Also having a brand ambassador. There's, because of social media, you have so many socialites, so many people that have a huge following. You can actually use that huge following to promote your business and or service. So yes, having a brand ambassador, I believe in today's time, is essential. And that's something I am also too working on, right? So having a social media presence, being consistent, that is something that we all, I believe, can work on collectively. Also networking events, right? Getting out and networking, joining your local chambers of commerce, right? Having billboards and magazines, even creating a ebook or a journal centered around your brand, and even also having seminars that you can engage with your audience. All of that builds up great reputation for yourself and your business. And when you are out there, people want to know that your business is reliable. And the more dialogue, the more intellect, the more you have about your brand, the more accessible it is, the more people respect it, right? So now that we have all of that understood, we want to make sure that we get into the bag, guys. Yes, all of it is about getting to the bag. So there's a lot of resources available for entrepreneurs, right? We spoke about it before, but we're going to dive into it. I want to make sure you guys are tapping into it. I'm going to list a few, of course, not all of them, but if you guys just Google a few things, you can definitely find way more resources available. So first, starting off with the SBA. Yes, they have so many different funding programs, grants, capital investments, bonds, disaster assistance, so many things, right? Available for you entrepreneurs like myself. Next is grants.gov. What? Grants.gov. Yes, it is a government run website that helps small business owners search for and apply for grants. So not only do they help you search for the grants, but they help you apply for it. So they walk you through it. And I don't know if anybody has ever filled out a grant, but that's a lot of work. So going to these different websites and having someone assist you is like, man, it's essential, right? Next is the USDA. Yes, the USDA is a Rural Business Development Grant. And these grants are intended to provide technical assistance and training to rural business owners, people like ourselves, right? So if you are in a certain type of demographic and things of that nature, a USDA business development is where it's at. Yes. Moving along is the NASE, which is the National Association for Self-Employed. Yes. This company, NAS, provides grants up to 4,000. It may not be a lot. It may not be a lot, but hey, for some, that's a lot. For some, that's a lot to start. So it helps with your business for the running, for the startup costs and things of that nature. So again, that is NAS, NASE. Moving along, you have the Minority Business Development, which is the MBDA. The Minority Business Development, which is again for us, It offers several funding programs for minority owned businesses. Yes. And it can assist with business owners with obtaining grants and loans. So, again, they're not only going to show you how to get it, but they're going to walk you through the process. Yes. Next, you have the Economic Development Administration, which is the EDA. This U.S. Economic Development Administrator actively assess applications regularly for grants and other forms of business assistance. So you absolutely need them. And unlike the other ones that I said, where they may have cutoffs or limitations, this is open year round, right? So you definitely want to check them out. Again, that's the EDA. Next, you have the Small Business Innovation Research, which is the SBIR. The SBIR provides funding to businesses focused on advancing science and technology. We speak a lot about science, which we categorize as metaphysics in this show. So, if you are into science, you have some youth that's into science, or you got some great developments that you want to bring, this is the place to be. And we are going to a whole nother different digitalized economy. Everything is just, the currency is changing, the world is changing around us. So technology is where it's at. So believe you me, if you have a great business idea that's going to develop and expand the world that we're living in, technology wise, oh, this is the website you want to check out. So again, this is the SBIR program, right? It provides funding to businesses focused on advancing science and technology, right? Next is you have SCORE. SCORE is also through the SBA, guys. SCORE is through the SBA. So if you went through SBA.gov, you would go to their website, go to counselors, and then they will link you with a SCORE director. SCORE is a network of business mentors from across the country focused on helping other entrepreneurs grow their business. The organization has been around since 1964, guys, and it has helped over 11 million people. 11 million people. Yes. So it's been only around since 1964, but it has helped that many people. So not only will they help you with funding, but also just guidance. Sometimes money isn't everything, right? You may have all the money in the world. Your credit may be on point, business credit may be on point. You got a family that can give to you, but you don't have that mentorship. SCORE is where you want to go to get that mentorship. They will link you with somebody that's within your industry and that's really good within that industry and really keep you throughout the duration of your business, right? So, lastly, we have the Small Business Development Center, which is the SBDC. The Small Business Development Center is located throughout the U.S., and these are several centers. It's for entrepreneurs and counseling and training and development of technologies and improvement for your business and things of that nature. So, all of these things that I listed are great. I'm going to also conclude with one last thing, which I left off the list. Don't know how I could do that because I'm a woman, right? So, your last one is your National Women's Business Council. Yes, the NWBC. The National Women's Business Council is a non-profit federal advisory committee that doubles as a supportive resource for women and entrepreneurs. It's a host of webinars, roundtable discussions, and public meetings on the latest policies and things related to women. So you definitely want to be affiliated with them. I say if you are a woman and because it is a man's world, it's a woman's world too, but we all know we're a little step behind and we kind of, get turned around in so many different directions, right? So having a group like the NWBC would definitely help you. Now they're not so big on funding and grants, but again, if you are looking for roundtable discussion, the latest policies that's going on, and how to be innovative within your business, man, that's the company, that's the website you want to check out. So all of these things are essential, and entrepreneurship is where it's at, guys. Entrepreneurship is where it's at because we are entering this whole new different world. Are you guys excited? I said, are you guys excited, right? I know you hear all the talk about the dollar is dead and what we gonna do. Don't put your money in the banks and all of that. Don't worry. God said, don't worry about, let tomorrow take care of tomorrow. You do what you can today. Now, if some of you guys are invested and you feel encouraged to move your money or your assets around, by all means do that. I'm no by no means any type of financial advisor, but what I'm saying is don't overwhelm yourself with how this thing is shifting. I say all this because in the next couple weeks, months, and years, a lot is going to change. There is going to be a level of chaos, but for those who have prepared themselves, for those who are ahead of this train, there's going to be no worry. There's going to be no chaos. People around you are going to be operating off of pure fear because they did not prepare themselves, right? But you are going to be riding the wave up surfboard, surfboard, grading on that. Yeah. So y'all gonna be ready to take this thing to the next level. And because you position yourself correctly, you're gonna be able to teach others. So while everybody else is just all going crazy, you're just gonna be cool as a cucumber and giving them the guidelines and the steps and the tools that they need to take this thing to the next level. So guys, we're about wrapping it up for the day. I really appreciate you guys tuning in with me. I had to wrap it up about our entrepreneurship series. Next week, we're going to have a special guest on, Miss Monique, and she's going to give us so many gems as far as real estate, ownership, and all of that. And like you guys know, ownership is where it's at. And I know I mentioned it before, but if you haven't already, please research Dr. Claude Anderson, because that's going to be pivotal when we get to our topics next week, because everything that this man has been talking about for the last 20, 30 years is really happening now. It's been happening, but it's pivoted now, right? And since that is positioned like that, we want to make sure that we position ourselves properly. So that's why we're going to have a special guest on talking about real estate, talking about ownership, talking about credit, business credit, really dropping those gems. But before we got into that, I had to let you guys know about how to structure your business properly, how to outline your business plan, how to make sure that you are positioning yourself properly, how to make sure that your business and your service and your product is different and is unique to you, how to make sure that you have the moral support throughout the duration of your business, and also how to stay motivated. Guys, we got to stay motivated. You have to reach to the mountaintop. Whatever your dream is, believe me, you're going to achieve it. I'm going to say it again. Whatever your dream is, I don't care how big or how small you believe it to be, you will receive it. Whatever you want wants you to. So continue to work the dream, continue to manifest the life that you desire, continue to reprogram that subconscious mind, and continue to walk the life of light, because we are light beings, right? Not ether beings to be exact. So I love you guys so much for tuning in with me another Wednesday. I cannot wait to see you guys next week. We're going to be dropping so many gems. And again, if you guys want to tap in next week, remember we are on Intellectual Radio at 708-223-8953. Again, if you haven't already, check me out on IG. That's Brandy3YJ underscore. Again, check the link in the website and just navigate through it. Purchase some products for your girl. You know I love you for watching. Until next time, guys, I love you guys. Peace, love, and light. Love you.